All right, just a quick word about where the research has come from. So positive psychology has been around since the days of Socrates. However, they haven't pursued it so much because there's no funding in it. Back in the 60s, they went, well, you know, we're too busy fixing people to have positive psychology and focus on what people can do and their strengths. So it never got the funding, so it was never a great big thing until now. So in the last 20 to 30 years, a guy called Professor Martin Seligman has reignited it, did an enormous amount of research, and it's now a real big thing. And you would know probably in your state schools that are positive psychology schools who focus on these things. So basically what Martin Seligman, who wrote Authentic Happiness and Learned Optimism, plus a whole heap of other books, his research identified that these 5 elements were important to have a life of flourishing. So positive emotions, so have more positive emotions in your life than negative. And you can actually go online and do a positive negative ratio to find out where you're up to. So more positive than negative emotions each day. Engagement, being engaged in whatever you're doing, whether it's community, school, learning, home, family, whatever. So high levels of engagement. Relationships, making sure that your relationships are positive. So your communications are positive, that the people that surround you lift you up, they don't drag you down. You know, that kind of positive relationship ratio. The M is meaning. So what's the purpose in life? You know, how do you find meaning? That's where the mindfulness fits. So what is life for you? Are you doing what you're meant to do? Are you engaging in the things that fill your cup? Do you find meaning in trivial things? And there's an awesome strategy called the 5 whys of why you do things that leads to what your values are. So meaning is a part of that. And finally, achievement. So you have to have some level of achievement in your life. You can be small, it can be big, it doesn't really matter. So long as you identify and celebrate achievements in your life. So Martin Seligman identified the PERMA, the model of, you know, well-being. A lot of people add H, and that's health. So food, activity, and sleep. So some people talk about PERMA with the H on the end. So engagement is where we focus on the strengths. So if you're not engaged in what you're doing, then, you know, you're not going to like it. You probably won't even remember it. You're not interested. You know, you're going to muck up, you know, and it's no different to adults. But that's where the strengths come in. So if you are doing stuff that you're good at and you enjoy doing, obviously you're going to be engaged. So that's where the strengths fits into the positive psychology. Okay, so the research. So this is scientific research. Over the last 20 years, they've been doing lots and lots of research, and there's a lot of people who have done lots of different types of research in positive psychology. But around the strengths aspect of it, what they have found is this. If you are using strengths either yourself or you're engaging your students in using their strengths, what you will find is they will be more likely to be happy and flourishing, like thriving, growing, developing. You know, they are more likely to be able to do that than those people who don't focus on their strengths, those people who just focus on all the things that you can't do. They will experience less stress, are healthier, and have more energy. That goes for us as well. If we are enjoying our strengths when what we're doing day by day, we'll be less stressed, we will be healthier, and we will have much more energy. We're more confident. You know, when you're doing the stuff that you love, you're more confident, you feel great about it, and you experience faster growth and development. And this is a really interesting aspect because there's a woman called Barbara Fredrickson. Some of you may already heard about her. She's amazing. She has a theory called the broaden and build theory. And the theory is that if you are focusing on the positive all the time, then that opens up your brain to be more creative. And if you're opening up your brain to be more creative, then you can grow and you can develop in a much better way and a faster way. Yeah, so focusing on strengths, you become more creative and you are agile at work. Problem solving, you know, becomes a much easier concept for you. And obviously, if you are working with your kids on their strengths, the things that they're good at, they enjoy doing, they are going to be more engaged at school. And that is so important for us when we are working in the education sector. We want to engage our kids. We want to engage our students. And if we are doing that with their strengths, you know, it's a win-win for sure. Okay, so before we go down the track of actually the practical application and the process of how we do all of this, there's a couple of things I really need to talk to you about. One is why our brains automatically go to the negative, because we do. Whatever happens in our world, whether it's at school or work or play or whatever, we tend to automatically look for what's going wrong, or, you know, we have to fix something. So our brain does that, and I'll explain why our brain does that in a minute. And the other thing is how attention deficit impacts on working with our students and their strengths, because we do have attention deficit, absolutely 100%. So I wanted to just quickly talk about those first before we go on to the practical applications.